Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. From whichever part of the world you are connecting with us, I would like to welcome you to our YouTube channel. Now, my name is Maruti Makwana, and I'm a corporate coach providing trainings on various Microsoft Azure related technologies. Now, today we are going to focus on three important concepts of the recent time. And these are some of the very confusing words for most of the people who are entering into the learning AI technologies. Now, we have words like Gen AI, or what is normally known as generative AI. We also have something called AI agents, and we have something called agentic AI. In this video, I'm going to show you what are the exact meaning of the three words, how they are related or how they are different from each other, and how you can learn them and how you can utilize them. So, what are the differences? We are going to talk about that thing. And I'm not only going to show you what are the differences, but I'm also going to show you what is next after this. Because as we all know, AI era has actually started before a few years. Now, I'm not talking about invention of AI. Invention of AI has started before a few decades, but the era has started just before a few years. And as of now, it's actually booming. Now, if you are already learning AI or if you're already building career in AI, then this is one of the video which you cannot afford to miss. So let's get started. In this video, not only the differences, but I'm also going to show you that what's next in the AI trend. And I'm sure if you are building a career in AI or if you're learning AI because you want to use it in your day-to-day life, then you cannot afford to miss this. So stay tuned and let's get started. Now, before we start discussing about any of these terminologies, I want to just make one thing very clear. The first thing is I'm assuming that there are certain prerequisites are matching with you. Like you already know what is artificial intelligence. You already know what is machine learning, at least basics of machine learning. You already know that what exactly is prompt and completions. And you have used some of the AI tools like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or maybe you have used Meta AI. Now, any of these tools which you have used, I'm assuming that you know how to write a basic prompt, you know how to get the generated generative AI results. And why I'm making these assumptions? Because this topic today is really going to assume that you already know all these things. Also, I'm going to add on one more thing that most people do not know, but there is something called LLM, large language models, and SLM, which are small language models, which are commonly I'm going to refer as language model in this video. Now, I hope you already know about these terminologies and you already know what these things are. If you are saying you don't know these things, well, in that case, I want you to check out our AI fundamental videos of the same YouTube channel, which is skilltech.club. Or you can go to our website, skilltech.club, and you will get enrolled into your AI 900 course and understand the basics of these things. Let's assume that you already know these things, and that's why we are going to move forward to the actual three important terminologies which we are going to understand. Let's start with generative AI. Well, the definition says that generative AI is basically an AI system or a software that generates new content by using language models. When the language models are going to be used, it's actually going to take a natural language input, which is normally we know as prompt. So basically, if I try to understand the definition itself, it's going to generate a new original content. Remember, this is not a copy of the content from any search related data. This is going to generate a new content. And how it is having a capability of generating a new content? Well, that power is given by machine learning, and that is given to this language models, which we normally known as LLM or SLM. Now, these language models are having the capabilities of different types. As of now, let's say you want to focus on generating some kind of a realistic content. Now, I have one single input. Remember, the input is something which we know as prompt. So as you can see in my slide, left side, we have a prompt which is like create a 4K realistic image of a busy walking street. Now, this is my input prompt which I'm providing, and I'm also specifying what kind of a image I'm trying to generate. So because it's a generative AI, it can generate image, it can generate programming language code, it can generate some natural language text response, like you can say write an email for me or write a blog for me, something like that. I'm providing a prompt which is going to be taken care by AI. In the background, AI is going to use language models, and these language models are already trained with a lot of training data. These language models are capable of doing different capabilities. It can complete different tasks for you. Assuming this large language model which I'm using is capable of generating new images, and that's why it's going to give me a final result which is known as completion, and the completion is going to be nothing but that image with my kind of a requirement which I have provided. Now, this is what generative AI is all about. Maybe you're going to change the prompt to write a programming language code in Python, or maybe you're going to change a prompt to write an email. Based on that, it's going to use a respective language model and it's going to give you a response. That is how generative AI works. Now, if I have to find out a meaningful understanding of generative AI for a novice user, I will say that generative AI is basically an application like an assistant. Now, think about, you have an assistant in your day-to-day work, and the assistant's main job is to help you. Now, this assistant is always there to help you in a very creative and a supportive way. And that's what generative AI was doing. I think initially when people have used ChatGPT, Copilot, or some other related tools like Gemini, they mostly use these applications of generative AI as an assistant. And this assistant was there to save your time. This assistant was there to bring more creativity in your work, and it basically help you on multiple supportive tasks. And that's what generative AI is all about. Now, obviously, AI is going through an evolution. And because it's going through an evolution, generative AI was in one important milestone of that. But like every milestone, we always figure out what are the missing things. And in this milestone also, there were a few limitations which were there. Like in generative AI, because the generation is happening because of the large language models, the latest information was always missing. Or you always have to keep your large language models up to date, which is also a very painful task. Most of the language models which even you are using today, I'm sure it's at least 6 months or a few months older. It's not going to have the latest information which is happening inside that. Also, if you want to add on your own data, you want to add on some updated information in that, it needs something which is known as fine-tuning. Basically, fine-tuning is a process of adding updated data on top of your existing language model. So you need to fine-tune, and fine-tuning is an expensive process. Some of the language models like GPT-4 and GPT-5 are really huge. Training these language models again with the fine-tuning mechanism can take few days or sometimes few hours. Now, it's also a time-consuming and expensive process. Sometimes, to cut short this process, we also have a concept like RAG, which is known as Retrieval Augmented Generation. Now, if you are familiar with AI and if you're familiar with LLMs, there are high chances that you have heard this word which is known as RAG. So you need fine-tuning, and if you do not want to do fine-tuning, then you can use your own organizational content or some kind of a logical data associations with this, and you can incorporate your data with generative AI models. That is what is known as Retrieval Augmented Generation. Now, I'm not going very in-depth into RAG right now, but if you want to see how you can use RAG with your language models, you can check out this videos which is available on our YouTube channel. And that is going to give you a step-by-step instructions of how you can perform this thing. As of now, for this particular video, I'm not going into that. And the last one is that there are thousands of foundation models are available to choose from. Now, if you have seen my other videos, you know that there are more than 11,000 plus large language model and small language models are available. And choosing a right language model from that, it's another big level challenge. So, of course, these are the limitations of generative AI, which we have to keep in mind. And now, once you understand generative AI, let's move forward to the next thing, which is AI agent. As per the definition, AI agent is an autonomous system or software that focuses on a specific task. It can make decisions and it can take action. Now, from the definition itself, you can understand that this is something which is maybe an extended version of a generative AI application. Because, well, generative AI application was just working like an assistant and helping you to generate some kind of a content. In this case, it's focusing on a specific task, which is maybe relevant to a task-specific execution. And then, in order to perform the task, maybe it can take decision, it can take certain actions. Now, I'll give you an examples of this as well. Like, let's say you want an agent which can book an itinerary for you. So it's going to book a flight ticket, it's going to book an hotel, is going to maybe create a full travel plan, and then it's going to prepare an itinerary for you, and that's how the travel agent is going to work. Same way, you can have customer support agent, you can have sales agent, so many agents can be there. Now, actually, if you want to check what differences are here, the thing is, when you're creating an agent, as per this, again, you're going to provide a natural language prompt input. So you're going to provide an input. Like in this case, I'm saying, again, create a 4K realistic image of a busy walking street. But this time, when I'm going to provide this input, again, it's going to use generative AI. Again, it's going to associate with that. But instead of that, I have to provide a meaningful task. So in this case, the agent is actually going to take the task. Let's say instead of this busy walking street kind of an image, I'm going to say that book a travel itinerary for me for 4 days of travel in a specific location like Dubai. Now, when I say this, that particular task is actually going to be achieved by performing multiple actions in sequence. And that is exactly what this agent is capable to do. Again, in order to do this thing, it's going to use large language model. It's going to use the training data which is associated with the LLM. But on top of this, it's actually going to add on one more thing, which is known as tools. So what we are adding new here is actually you are going to have an agent which is having some additional tools, and using the tools, it can actually have some additional knowledge, actions, memory, and context. Basically, if I take an example of a travel itinerary, it knows that which destination I'm traveling. It also knows my preferences in hotel, food, accommodation, my budget, and likewise. So basically, I'm going to provide enough knowledge to this agent. I'm going to provide some additional tools because of which my agent can actually take some actions. It also remember my preferences in the memory, as well as it's also going to know the context, whether I'm traveling alone or I'm traveling for a business trip or I'm traveling for a leisure. So it's going to know the whole context as well. Compared to your normal generative AI application, AI agents are smart enough to understand these things, and that's why it's mostly focused on task-specific goal. At the end of this, agent is capable to achieve the goal, which is nothing but performing the task which you have suggested. This is one difference which happens between generative AI and your AI agents. Now, obviously, when you are thinking about generative AI, I told you that it's think like an assistant who's helping you in your day-to-day work. Same way, when I'm talking about an AI agent, I want you to think like that AI agent is like a professional who knows what needs to be done for a specific job task. Like in real time, when you really want to travel, you maybe go to a travel agent where a human being is going to be there, and that person is smart enough to understand your travel itinerary, your hotel booking, your flight booking, and it also knows your preferences, your family preferences, your food preferences, and all that. Same way, this agent is also going to be smart enough for that dedicated task. Yes, it cannot do multiple tasks for you, but for that particular task, to achieve that goal, this agent is a professional and you can depend on that person. That's exactly what AI agent is actually doing. Basically, think like this is much professional person who's having experience in performing that task and achieving that goal. And that's a transition which happened from generative AI to AI agent. To understand AI agents properly, I'm giving you some of the examples first. Of course, AI agents are also having limitations. But before we see limitations, let's check what kind of examples AI agent use cases can be there. Like, you can have a personal productivity agent, which is focusing on improving your productivity. You can have research agent. You can have sales agent. You can have travel agent, like I've given you an example. You can have developer agent, which can help you to write and develop applications and solutions. You can also have customer service agent, who's going to be a very advanced version of your customer support chatbot. So it can actually not only give you a support, it can also do actions and tasks for you. All these are some of the examples of AI agent use cases. Even your modern generative AI applications like Copilot is also nothing but an AI agent. And then when you ask Copilot to do certain tasks, it's smart enough to understand that and smart enough to perform the task to achieve the goal. When we understand AI agent, do I have any limitations in this as well? Well, answer is yes. The limitation is here. The AI agent cannot do all the things as every agent is for a specific task. So when you're hiring a professional who's going to take care of the sales, then he's only going to take care of the sales. If you want an agent who's going to take care of the travel itinerary, then he's only going to focus on that. Every agent is going to be specifically focusing on the one specific task or goal. It's not going to be the one person who's going to do everything. So you're going to have an agent, not a Superman who can do everything. And that's the limitation of AI agent. Now, maybe when I talk about limitation of AI agent, some people say that, what if we can do multiple agent? One agent is going to do one task, another agent is going to do another task. Well, if you're thinking in this direction, that's 100% correct direction, because that's something which is a need of the modern days solutions, that you need a multi-agent kind of a solution. But it's not that easy, like you say. So, in most cases, what you need is a team of agents who can work in well-coordinated manner. So when you talk about multi-agent, obviously each agent is going to be focusing on their own specific task. But that's not enough. We actually need a team. Like when you're running an organization, and if you have a team of developers, team of designers, team of salesperson, team of administrators, there is not one single person who's going to take care of everything single-handedly. So you need a team of professionals. Remember, I told you one agent is like a professional which you're hiring. Same way, you actually need multiple professionals. Everyone is dedicatedly working on their own task, and they should also be well coordinated. Basically, they know each other, they can pass on the context to each other, they can work in a coordinated manner. And that is what a modern agentic solution need. And that is where we have a birth of agentic AI. So it's always like this. If you need something, then you have to get that. AI agent has actually given a new way where you can develop agentic AI systems. Now, what exactly AI agent is? AI agent is an autonomous systems that act with autonomy. Agentic AI is an autonomous systems that act with autonomy and initiative to achieve complex long-term goal with minimal human supervision. Basically, this is not one single agent. It's an autonomous system. And inside the system, you are going to have multi-agent kind of a system most of the time. This system is going to act with autonomy and initiative. And because of this, it can actually achieve complex long-term goals. Now, sometimes if your goals are complex, you have to divide that into multiple steps. And then for each step also, you're going to have a separate agent who's dedicatedly working on that. And in this case also, we maybe need human supervision or human intervention, but most of the time we want an automation with minimal human supervision. And that is what agentic AI systems are actually providing to you. When you are focusing on agentic AI system, just keep this kind of a diagram in the mind, that it's not going to be one single agent, it's going to be multiple agents are there. Like in my case right now, we have agent 1, 2, 3, 4. Each agent is somehow connected with some centralized autonomous system. And that agentic AI system is capable enough to guide all the agents, to work with the coordinated manner, and then it is also going to give you a goal-driven sequential or parallel executions between multiple agents. Now, obviously, if you want to understand agentic AI, there are so many tools, there are so many frameworks, there are so many ways are available in the market using which you can develop an agentic AI system. There are also a few additional things like agentic AI design patterns which you need to understand, which I will explain a little bit right now in this video only. But if you're focusing on agentic AI system, I want you to think like that agentic AI system is like a well-coordinated team of professionals. It's not a one single professional. It's a team of well-coordinated professionals with all the equipments. So basically those tools which are there with agent is still there. Knowledge, context, memory, all the things are there with these agents. This reminds me the agent from the Matrix movie. They also well coordinated. They also talk to each other. They also focus on a specific goal and task. And agentic AI system is basically just trying to do similar kind of thing. Now, when you're designing your own agentic AI system for your own solution, you have to keep a couple of things in mind. For example, you have to make sure that your multi-agent coordinate properly. And that's where we have something called multi-agent orchestration. Now, orchestration is basically a word which is derived from musical orchestra. I'm sure if you have seen musical orchestra, you know that in musical orchestra, you always have one person standing in the center and waving his hands or some sticks with that. Now, that person is basically responsible for the musical flow, which is driven by all the musicians who are playing their instruments. Same way, you need to organize, you need to orchestrate a multi-agent orchestration, that how your agents are going to communicate, coordinate, and work in a sequential or a parallel manner. All the things you have to understand, and organize in the Agentic AI system. Also, you need to focus on agent-to-agent communication. And you also need to focus on planning and reasoning-based action execution. Because whenever you're executing, most of the time it's not going to be a sequential execution, neither is going to be always parallel. You have to understand that how these agents are going to coordinate in such a way that based on the reasoning, it can do an execution of the task so that you can fulfill the final goal achievement. Now, same thing is actually happening. And in order to take full control of your agentic AI system, the thing which you need to understand is agentic design patterns. Now, I'm not introducing a new term. This is also one of the very popular term of recent time. Agentic design patterns are actually those design patterns which are helping you to design a solution with multi-agent kind of an orchestration. Now, if you have heard this word first time, like design pattern, if you're hearing this first time, then do not get confused. Design pattern is not a new thing, but agentic design pattern is a new thing. Let me break down this first by two different words. I hope you understood what is agentic AI. Let me tell you what is design patterns. Now, every time when someone asks me what is a design pattern, I always say this, that design patterns are solution of some common problems. Now, in older days, we used to have some programming language specific design patterns. Then we got cloud specific design patterns as well. And every time when you have a design pattern, it's actually going to solve some of the common problems. Same way, agentic design patterns are actually different patterns which are created to solve some common problems which can happen when you design your multi-agent applications and solutions. There are so many design patterns which are there. And if you want to learn more about agentic design pattern, maybe this video is not going to be enough for that. So I am just directing you to our website. If you go to our website, which is skilltech.club, you'll find multiple courses related to AI. Some of these courses which I'm showing you right now, which is focusing on AI agents, generative AI apps, if you want to develop generative AI apps, and if you're a developer, these are the courses which you should not miss. And in those courses, I'm actually explaining some of the design patterns which I'm using while developing applications. If you want, these courses are available, and these courses are those courses which we update mostly every month. So there are new design patterns which are launching, there are new things which are coming in the AI. We keep updating these courses into this one. Some of these courses are available with the free subscription. Some of these courses are available with the premium subscription. Now it is up to you. Mostly our basic courses for beginners and for all kind of audience are free, but our premium courses, which are actually for the experienced developers, are actually chargeable with the subscription. So this is something which is available on our website if you want to learn that. Now, if you are still watching this video up to this particular one, then I'm sure you like this video and you understood the difference between generative AI, AI agent, and agentic AI systems. Now, if you have any questions related to these three topics, you can just comment down in this particular video, and I will love to answer your comments in that particular comment box. Also, this is very important for all of us. If you subscribe to our channel, if you like this video, then it's going to give a boost to our YouTube channel. We are still having only 7% users who actually subscribe to our channel. So I request you, if you want us to do the same work continuously, please subscribe to our channel. And now, without wasting much time, I want to move to that last part, which is very important part of this video. Those who are watching this video till this particular moment, you really deserve to know what is coming next in AI. And for you, I have one thing. If you're talking about AI agents and agentic AI systems, then AI agents are still evolving. This transition has just started before a few months, and it is still going to be there for at least next 12 to 15 months. By this time, what exactly organizations are focusing, what exactly enterprise level solutions are actually focusing on this. Now, in that case, you have two words. There is one thing which is known as MCP. I'm sure you heard about this word also if you're really being updated in the industry. And congratulations to you if you heard this word. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. And I am going to show you a dedicated video series on MCP, how to configure MCP servers, how to configure MCP clients, how to connect them with that, and what are the possible ways with that. MCP is one of the must thing for most of the organizations when they want to implement their agentic AI systems. There are so many providers also available where you can also configure your MCP servers, and they have configured their own MCP servers with the data, and they're going to provide it. Now, because of the length of this video, I'm not going very in-depth in MCP, but yes, in the next step of generative AI or agentic AI systems, MCP is a must important milestone. But then after MCP, what? I'm sure you, not all, but maybe 60% of my audience has already heard about MCP. Then I'm going to show you one more thing, which I'm sure you have not heard, and that is AI agent frameworks. Yes. Now, as you know, I'm a Microsoft certified trainer, and we are mostly connected with most of the Microsoft certified trainers across the globe. Now, AI agent framework is the next step, which every big organization who's developing AI and AI agent related stuff are focusing on. Because every developer wants a stable framework. Using that framework, you can develop agents. I'm sure if you're a developer, you know that there was a time when we used to have a .NET framework, Java was another framework, we have PHP, we have Python. Now different programming languages came up. But do we have a framework for developing agents? Well, up to this point, it was not there, but it is there now. At the time of this recording, I can tell you the date also. We are in the last week of October 2025. And somewhere in the first week of October 2025, which means this month only, we got something which is really surprising, really amazing, and I'm very excited for this. Yes, this thing is an agent framework. If you have never heard about this, let me show you some of the information right now. And I'm going to share an initial introduction link of agent framework in the description of this particular video, so you can check this out. But let me show you what this thing is. Now, as you can see right now, I'm showing you one of the article which is written on Microsoft Learn website. And they are proudly announcing something which is known as Microsoft Agent Framework. This is an agent framework which just got announced in the first week of October. You can check the date here. And then this is an agent framework, which is an open source development kit for building agents and multi-agent workflows. So basically, your agentic AI systems you can use by just one centralized framework. If you have heard about the words like autogen or semantic kernel, then let me tell you one thing. All of these things are extended and combined into one single framework. So you don't need to learn autogen or what was that. You don't need to learn what is semantic kernel and what it is doing. You just need to learn one framework, which is Microsoft Agent Framework, and that framework is going to give you basically two capabilities. First one is it helps you to develop AI agents using your choice of LLM. No matter which large language model you want to choose from those 11,000 plus language models, you can choose them, you can develop your agents, you can create multi-agent kind of orchestrated systems. And you also have something which is called workflows, which is basically a graph-based workflow for a low-code, no-code kind of an environment where you can develop agents, you can debug agents, you can keep track of the execution of the agent by some kind of a tracing and logging mechanism with that. All of these things are combined into one single framework, which is called Microsoft Agent Framework. Now, this is really a drastic change and a big improvement, which is also going to be connected with Azure AI Foundry portal. So basically, in future, all the agents which you are developing and you're going to deploy on Foundry are going to be based on Microsoft Agent Framework. Now, if you have a question about why there is another agent framework which is available now from Microsoft, why should I use this thing? Then the answer is actually given in this article. I request you to please read this thing. And if some of you are interested in developing multi-agent applications with Microsoft Agent Framework, you can just comment down agent framework in the comment of this particular video, and you will get a dedicated video series on Microsoft Agent Framework. Also, if you like the information, share it with others, because learning and growing is all about sharing. So if you share with others, maybe they'll also know how you have to use this, and they'll also appreciate that. That's it from me. Thank you so much for staying with me in this video till the end. I hope you like this video, and I hope I'm able to clarify the doubts between these confusing words. Still, if you have some more words, some more terms which you're not able to understand, send it to me in the comment or reach out to me through our email ID, and I will surely record a separate video on that. Thank you so much. This is Maruti Makwana signing out for this day. I'll see you tomorrow with a new topic on Azure and AI. Happy learning.